Jonas, Michael has a question for you. He says, my wife and I retired in January, just replaced our water heater. It depleted a big chunk of our emergency fund. Oh, the emergency fund question. Do we need to rebuild that emergency fund, or is that not relevant now that we're retired and we can withdraw from our investments as needed?
Michael, to put it simply, cash is king. And yes, it is smart to build up the emergency fund because you're going to have some unexpected expenses in retirement. It sounds like, Michael, that you're a homeowner. You had to replace your water heater. Mm-hmm. My boat owners have an acronym for their boat, Doug. Do you know what that is? Bring out another 1,000.
Yeah.
Because they always have to repair their boats. I have an acronym for homes. Yeah. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Holy cow, oh my gosh, more expenses. That's what homes stand for. And if your home is over 20 years old like mine, you're looking at anywhere from 1% to 3%, probably on the 3% side just for normal expenses. Any remodeling cost, and I know if this goes to the West Coast and East Coast and Chicago, any remodeling cost in the Midwest, 10 to 13,000. I'm sure some people are falling off their chair and would love to spend 10 to 13,000 on remodeling costs. One of the things too, it prevents you having a spare tire or an emergency fund. It prevents you from having to go into your investments and taking money out at the wrong time. And I think that this is what we call, I think the fancy term is a sequence of returns, but just picture if we're in a recession and you don't have an emergency fund, Doug, and you have to start tapping into your investments and they're 30% down, that would be the worst time to do it.
Mm-hmm. And what's the tax liability for you and things?
Absolutely. What's the tax liability? Mm-hmm. And I had a situation with a family friend to where it almost reaches a point where people are taking, when you start taking lump sums out of your retirement accounts, you start treating your money like a piggy bank, your retirement kind of like a piggy bank. Yeah. I had a family friend just start taking withdrawals. It started with one lump sum for a retaining wall. And exactly what you said, Doug, she didn't factor into the taxes on that. So the next year came by, tax season, she didn't have enough taxes to pay enough money to pay her taxes. She had to take another withdrawal out of her retirement account. Well, now, lo and behold, she has about 85% the balance of what she had to start with, just by taking lump sums out of her retirement account. So back to your question, Michael, yes, please replace that emergency fund at least back to the level before you had to take a chunk out to pay for the water heater.
And I know you like to call them spare tires as well. You recommend having more than one emergency fund as well, because especially something like that, if you can figure out a way to do it, it helps you from having to dig deep into anything else.
Right. And there's a lot of people that buy into the philosophy of threes, right? I'm not necessarily that person, but when one thing breaks down in my house, it usually tends to be two other things, so a total of three. So, a second spare tire is what I call that, and that comes in handy. And the nice thing is, again, you're not touching your investments. You have control of your investments. You can touch them by adding a layer of that retirement income strategy onto your investments. You're not going in and ripping out a lump sum.
It's easier to deal with emergencies in a bull market. Just like you said, everything's better in a bull market.
That's right. Absolutely right.
What if you had to replace your water?
Better?
Yeah. What if you had to replace your water heater in a bear market in a recession? That'd probably be more painful.
If Doug was in a recession, he would just take cold showers.
I do anyway. So it's cheaper. It wakes me up.
So I will say one thing, Jonas. And anybody who has been listening to the radio show for more than about 5 years, I think we have a new golden goose. With the holy cow, oh my gosh, more expenses as the acronym. I think it is the new golden goose.
That is good.
Thank you, Casey.
Tell you what, if you're interested, go to premieriwm.com. They have a guide on there that you can download. It's called Navigating Market Volatility. It's something that you may be interested in because, it's not just the market volatility, but it talks about making sure that you have a good plan that fits where you are in life for you, your husband, for your family. And it just makes sense to do that.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments in Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide specific individualized tax or legal advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. Rebalancing a portfolio may cause investors to incur tax liabilities and or transaction costs, and does not assure a profit or protect against loss. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. Forbes' Best in State Wealth Management Teams ranking was developed by Shook Research and is based on in-person, virtual, and telephone due diligence meetings and a ranking algorithm that includes a measure of each team's best practices, client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and revenue generated for their firm. Investment performance is not a criterion because client objectives and risk tolerances vary, and advisors rarely have audited performance reports. Shook's research and rankings provide opinions intended to help investors choose the right financial advisor and team, and are not indicative of future performance or representative of any one client's experience. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Neither Forbes nor Shook Research receive compensation in exchange for placement on the ranking. For more information, please see www.shookresearch.com. Shook is a registered trademark of Shook Research, LLC.